Om Shri Ganeshaya Namo Nama. Greetings to everyone world over. Green morning, green afternoon, and green evening, wherever you are world over. It's indeed a great pleasure. Every Sunday we meet at 9:30 in the morning. We meet at 7 p.m. We meet at 8 p.m. But today there's a special day. It's a special program. It's the need of the hour. And all of us, we got to get together post-pandemic period and where we got to search, research, realize, and once again, we have to go over what exactly is our cultural heritage and what are the crisis which we are facing post-pandemic and particularly culture during crisis. This is something which is being authored by a very eminent lady in India, Madam Namrata Kohli. She's an author, she's a journalist, she's an editorial consultant to Business Standard, and she is going to deliberate, celebrate, discuss with us. She launched this book on 5th of October on the World Teachers' Day of the United Nations, and we requested her, and today she's with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me share a couple of slides with you to set the context. International Chamber for Service Industry extends a very warm welcome to all our brothers and sisters across the globe, wherever you are, and hearty welcome at 4:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, that's in India, and we are really pleased that most of you're going to join us today for this program. This morning at 9:30, you met Professor Satinder Dhimanji from the Woodbury University, Burbank, California, United States. He is the president of International Chamber for Service Industry, and he talks to all of us every Sunday in the morning, 9:30 to 10:30, Vidya se Adhyatam, Vidya ki Aur, mindfulness and holistic approach to learning. Every Sunday, 7 p.m. for the Vishwa Kalyan ke liye Ayurveda, global wellness and health tourism through Ayurveda, you'll be meeting Dr. Parmeshwar Arora after this program. And of course, 8 o'clock every Sunday, we have got a program with the non-resident Indians, and they are helping us nowadays for Indian education and skills programs. And that's something which we are going to have at 8 p.m. today. Dr. Priya Vishweshwaran, ma'am, she'll be joining us from Texas, that is Houston in the United States. And we will be talking about global multitasking teachers. It's going to be the second part. First part you had last week. She had a long slide show. We could not complete due to the paucity of time. And we requested, madam, she's coming today once again for this particular program. So with that, we are also at the end of this month. That's going to be 31st of October, 2022. We will be taking you to ASEAN countries because India is celebrating cultural heritage, India ASEAN Celebrations 2022. And we will be talking about rethinking tourism post-pandemic, where we will talk about cultural heritage, spirituality, wellness, and of course, sustainable, responsible, and smart tourism. Our chamber is proud that with the help of our Indian diaspora, we brought India's first finishing school for service industry in 1994 for youth, teachers, educators, counselors, coach, whosoever is there. This is the brick and mortar finishing school, working on their personality enhancement, communication, collaboration, creativity. This was the complete gamut, and that was in 4 walls in the entire campus just before pandemic. That is for the youth, teacher, women empowerment, and corporate training. Post-pandemic, everything has gone digital. We got to change with the time, ladies and gentlemen, and need of the time, because that's the way we have to understand. So in the digital arena now, sustainable development goals, when you talk about this inspirational lab is taking all project-based learning, real-world needs, and what is the purpose of education? Why somebody should go to school, college, university, institution for skills, water management, waste to resource management, learning through nature. Teachers are gardeners, and thus a very noble and a pious profession. Climate change, carbon neutral, understanding cultural diversity of different people from the different countries, from the different regions, and of course, immersive learning experiences. So we are more than happy wherever you are world over. Should you wish to be a part of the inspirational lab, our chamber would be more than happy to give you the complimentary input towards school, colleges, universities, ITIs, polytechnics, vocational training centers, skill centers, and wherever you all can grow, survive post-pandemic. Because a lot of financial challenges are coming world over, and this winter is also going to be very harsh. We know what is going on between Ukraine and Russia, and what are the sanctions imposed, how inflation is going up. We all got to be taken care of. And finally, read the book whenever you get a time. There's an audio book of the Napoleon Hill on the YouTube, and that is Think and Grow Rich. One of the key sentences which I picked up from that book, whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Let's come together for the cultural heritage part of tourism. And ladies and gentlemen, join me in extending a very hearty welcome to the lady, Namrata Kohli, this afternoon, this morning, this evening, whatever time zone you are in, culture during crisis. Pleasure to have you, ma'am. Thank you. And it's indeed a great pleasure. Namaskar.
Namaskar. And lots of gratitude to everybody who's sparing time, that too on a Sunday. Thank you very much, Major Dr. Gulshan Sharma ji, for that wonderful introduction. I'm honored. The topic that I really wanted to speak about is culture and heritage, which is at the heart of even tourism, which should be at the heart.
First of all, ma'am, we would like to congratulate you for authoring this particular book and releasing on 5th of October. Our heartiest and deepest congratulations to you. It's a wonderful work which you have gone through. I have read through the all 12 chapters, the extract part of it in short, so that I get the central idea. It's a great task. It's a remarkable, and you deserve a big applaud from all of us, the best possible way. Let's take on now what inspired you. How did you go by? How did you think about culture during crisis? And what was the inspiration behind? And what exactly the message you wish to convey through these 12 beautiful chapters? Namrata Kohli.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would love to show you exactly what I wanted to illustrate this point through 4 slides of mine, with your permission.
By all means, ma'am. We can see right over here. It's a wonderful what you're showing, cultural during crisis by Namrata Kohli. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, coming over to Dr. Sharma, your question of what inspired me. I thought that the coronavirus pandemic was the tipping point. It was really that time when we all had the most rarest commodity, and that is time. And that is when we went back to our roots, whether it was having the desi kada, the haldi doodh, our yoga, our pranayam were the biggest protectors and saviors of not just fellow Indians, but the whole world. So that is when we realized that these traditional Ayurvedic practices of oil pulling, of wellness practices, which were any which ways part of our lifestyle, they were woven into the Indian way of life, how they literally became the survival mantra. So when we had time to think about the advantages of our heritage practices, it just set me thinking, why are we not doing enough to embrace them, to live them, to love them, to eat them, to breathe them, and literally to live our lifestyle the ancient way? So I realized that while culture helped us during the crisis, it itself is in crisis. And what do I mean by that? 75 years ago, the British left India and India became independent. But even today, sir, we are very colonized in our minds. This 190 years of British rule, we got that number from the latest Shashi Tharoor's book, where he spoke about how the British stole some $45 trillion during their rule of two centuries in India. But more than that, what they have eroded is our self-worth, or the feeling of, or our identity. We have reeled under this humongous inferiority complex, and because for the longest time there was humiliation suffered by the Indians, by the Westerners, and there was this the English education which was brought out by Lord Macaulay. The whole idea was to ingrain a certain amount of inferiority complex into Indians, and it is something which we probably have still not overcome. And what are the telltale signs of the fact that we have not overcome that inferiority complex? Look at the way we dress, or look at the way what we eat, how we live. Whether we find everybody finding pasta more cool over khichdi, or we find that people are chasing mindlessly olive oil over desi ghee or mustard oil, or that our classical forms of music, of dance, of everything, they are just dumped and left behind. So I'm not reading exactly verbatim what is there on the slide. I'm sure people can read whatever they would like to. So, guitar over sitar, ballet over Kathak, or foreign languages, French, German, Spanish over Sanskrit. The legacy of languages, you're completely losing the game there. I mean, look at the state of our mother tongue. Most of us don't know our mother tongue, or forget about that, even Hindi. And I, being a parent of two teenage kids, I know that there are a lot of people who say with a great sense of pride, "Oh, our child does not know how to speak Hindi," but they would be too ashamed to say that, well, he doesn't know English. So preferably, if he can do a smattering of Spanish and little bit of German and French, then he has really arrived. So in short, we have become more Western than the Westerners themselves, and we have become indifferent to our own culture. Now, I'm not saying that we should not learn or embrace other languages or other aspects of culture. I mean, it's incredibly important. It is truly enriching, and it is very, very enlightening. But time is finite, right, sir? And things are infinite. So therefore, if we were to prioritize, shouldn't it be a priority with everyone to first know their culture, to first be acquainted with their own roots and identity, and then look at the other things? I mean, the more you learn, the more you know that there's lots more to learn, right? So there's no end to learning, but I think the starting point has to be with our past. So I'm saying that your culture is eventually your brand, and you cannot be eroding your brand because you have, that is all that you have. That is your USP, and there's enough evidence to show that people who are, uh, they have solid roots are the ones who go higher up in life. And the more as a journalist, I get to interact with the potter on the street to the prime minister of the country, I find roots is everything. While a tree may look beautiful because of its branches, it derives its strength only from its roots. So why is culture in crisis? Why do I say that? And you asked me about what inspired me. I was a little appalled to see the situation in which our society is heading. I mean, all of us are running. But what are we running after? I mean, we are running mindlessly after wealth, after power, after God knows what we are trying to attain. But in this quest to attain whatever that we have set our minds upon, we are losing what is inherently our own. I mean, look at the language crisis. Recently, I spoke to the principal of a very famous Delhi school, and she told me that it's becoming increasingly difficult to fill students in the Sanskrit class. Instead, they have to create 5 sections of French, 3 of German, 2 of Sanskrit, 2 of Spanish. But Sanskrit, it's just half a section. That too, they club it with German. So the language is a prism to the world. And this is not something I'm blaming schools or parents about, because you see, everything happens in the context of economics. If there are no employability, if there are no jobs, if there is nothing that at the end of the road the child will, become richer with, he or she will not be encouraged to take up that option. They would rather think of taking up a foreign language which helps them while they are traveling, because the world has become a global village. So, what are the incentives we are giving to our own society to become little more sensitive about culture is also a point to ponder about. I mean, where does it? It's not just a PM Modi who's going to do all the talking and the walking the culture. It's, I think, the onus lies with every parent. The buck stops with every school, with every parent, with every individual in the society. If you look at the music industry, so even there you find a huge crisis that the traditional music, and I'm not talking just about classical here, sir. I'm also referring to the folk music. I mean, I heard of of a classical music singer and a mid-range, not the top notch, who said that he was insulted by being offered some movie vouchers instead of payment for the show, and shopping vouchers. So it was there was a time when it was supposed to be very, very classy, very, very cool to have classical music concerts in colleges. There would be corporates who would be happy to sponsor these. Even now, we have some corporates sponsoring these classical Indian concerts. It's not that it's totally done away with, but what are we seeing as a overall trend? I mean, we're talking of the norm rather than the exception. And as a norm, I think we have, if you look at the way today's generation is looking at music, I think they find it pretty down market to be humming a Hindi song, and they would rather go for a Korean pop or a Western music number. But I think it's not considered very in to be learning classical Indian music, and all of that was playing to empty halls. So today, culture is in crisis because we don't have the right role models. The role models may be there, but they are not, uh, worshipped or hero worshipped the way they were probably earlier. So, for example, a Bhuvan Bam, and with due respect to the social media influencer, these people who are uploading some 100 videos, they become the hottest sensation, and whatever they put their likes on becomes the rule book for many youngsters. So this a Twitter czar, an Insta queen, is these are the role models that we are giving to our youngsters? Is that the state of affairs that our society is coming to? So, or people are following entrepreneurs. They want to become Jeff Bezos. They want to become Elon Musk. I mean, it's not really about uh, anything else, but it's becoming more about how much wealth you have or how much power you have. That is becoming the be all and end all of what our society is really worshipping. So I feel the crux of this problem is really in writing a more responsible history. I mean, sir, if we are constantly told, if our children are constantly told that you were conquered, you were plundered, you were defeated, why would you like to reclaim that? It is best forgotten. I mean, such a history is best forgotten. So, if something cultivates pride and a feeling of positivity and a feeling of belongingness, and we are given the beautiful examples of Chola dynasty, or the way Harappa civilization was the best kind of uh, building cities, and if these kind of examples are uh, uh, are celebrated and highlighted, so I feel it's also a question of, besides writing a more responsible history, it's also a question of branding and marketing. Why do you think that when US puts carbonated water into a bottle with loads of sugar, and the whole youth of India is crazy after it? Why not Nimbu Pani? I mean, for its obvious benefits that we know. We know that a Pepsi or a Coke is far more coveted, despite its negativities, by the youth of our country. So I think the problem also lies in branding and communication. And with that, I'm also going to refer to, I will only allude to an example and not give it entirely away because I would be happy if you can read it in the book. But in a chapter on jewelry, I have given the case study of De Beers, and De Beers has made this huge. They are selling huge lies to the world about diamond being better than gold. So in search of the diamond, we literally are losing our gold. They literally have made up the story by engaging a high profile marketing agency that diamonds are eternal, or uh, uh, they they will never break. When the CEO of that particular company has confessed, and this is on record in New York Times, he has confessed that diamond is not forever. It is never forever, and it is breakable. But they made up that 2 month salary story, and they kind of sold it so effectively that till date, no engagement is complete, or no engagement is fulfilled until the boy gives the girl a diamond ring and not a gold ring. So how branding and marketing are equally important in this, task of positioning the culture correctly. I think we really need to draw some lessons from it. So I feel our culture is our brand, and whether if we don't love our culture, even then, if we still should be smart enough. I mean, I'm sure most of us love our culture. We are so attached to it. There's a sentimentality about it. But I'm saying, even for those who may not like their culture so much, I think it's very obvious that for them to be respected anywhere in the world, they should be knowing enough, at least being aware of their culture. And when I say being aware, I'm saying in terms of literature, in terms of art, in terms of visual art, performing art. There should be some elements they should have which they are aware about, in terms of reading, doing, performing themselves or with their family. So on that note, I'm also an advisor to CCRT, which is under the Ministry of Culture. So at CCRT, what we have done is we have put up this Sanskriti Heart Fair. So that is more about the whole melange of performing art, visual art, and literary art. We recently, in the month of March this year, had the occasion of putting it up in the lawns of CCRT's 8-acre campus in Dwarka. So, with your permission, I want to play a very short video which shows this tremendous meaning and depth in our culture. It is not capturing the global attention. Forget about global attention. It is not capturing the hearts and minds of fellow Indians, simply because our children are not exposed to handicrafts, or they don't know enough about the beauty or the advantages, the therapeutic effect of classical Indian music. So if whenever they come to know, to their credit, they do, they're very cognizant of its advantages, and they do like to embrace it, or they are very curious about it. But I'm saying exposure is at an all-time low, and we really need to work as a society. It's not about just government doing it or one body doing it, but I think every home, every individual can do it. So with your permission, I want to show this video. It's a very interesting video. Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Thank you.
राजस्थान की संस्कृति और राजस्थान की संस्कृति में मांगणियार लोक कलाकार का अपना एक अलग ही विशेष महत्व है। मांगणियार एक संगीत कम्युनिटी है, एक संगीत घराना है जो पश्चिमी राजस्थान के सीमावर्ती जिलों में निवास करते हैं। मांगणियार अपने जजमानों के घरों में, अपने जो जजमान हैं हिंदूज और मामडर्स, उनके घरों में जन्मदिन, सगाई, शादी, तीज त्योहार और हर प्रकार के मांगलिक अवसरों पे गाते और बजाते हैं। एक लोकवादी है। मांगणियार का मुख्य वादी है कमायचा, जो 500 साल पुराना लोकवादी है। आम की लकड़ी से बना हुआ एक वादी है जो 500 वर्ष पुराना है, जो मात्र इस हिंदुस्तान नहीं पूरे विश्व में मात्र मांगणियार के अलावा इसको कोई बजा ही नहीं सकता है कमायचा। साथ में खड़ताल भी है, ढोलक, हारमोनियम, मोरचंग, मटका, विभिन्न प्रकार के लोकवाद्य है मांगणियारों के।
जय हो। I'm Durga Jasraj, founder of Pandit Jasraj Cultural Foundation. And when you talk about how do you actually get your child attracted to our culture, our music, I think for me the most important thing and foremost thing is about listening. Listening is your first guru and the kind of exposure that the child actually gets at home. Sometimes you have your nani or your dadi or your grandfather, your father playing either tabla, harmonium, sitar. If your father is playing some instrument before they go for work or something, naturally, the child gets used to the sound. He gets attracted to the instrument. He actually knows that this kind of an instrument or this kind of music is looked up to. And that attitude actually helps the child form its opinion because the
मेरा नाम अनुकृति कुमारी है। मैं भागलपुर बिहार से हूँ। मैं फॉर्म है वो हमारे यहाँ की लोक कला है जो कि बिना बिशेरी की हमारे यहाँ पूजा होती है, उसी पे बेस है। हमारे यहाँ ये माना जाता है कि हमारी जो पेंटिंग है वो एशिया की एक ऐसी मात्र कथा चित्र है जो कि पूरी संपूर्ण कथा चित्र है और उसी के कहानी को सुन करके हम लोग ये सारी पेंटिंग तैयार करते हैं। ऐसा माना जाता है कि जब हुआ कि जैसे कि बहुत सारी पेंटिंग्स हैं उसमें हम लोग डिफरेंट कलर यूज करते हैं, लेकिन हम लोग सिर्फ 3 कलर से ही, लाल, हरा और पीला, जो कि प्रेम, समृद्धि और विकास का प्रतीक भी माना जाता है, हम लोग उसी को लेकर के सारा काम करते हैं। अगर हम लोग हमारी जो कलाएँ हैं हम उसे देखते हैं क्या कि ये हम एक नारी सशक्तिकरण का भी एक प्रतीक माना जाता है, क्योंकि हमारे इस कहानी में एक बिहला नाम की एक महिला रहती है जो कि अपने मृत पति को स्वर्ग लोक ले जा करके फिर उन्हें से जीवित।
सबसे पहले आप लोगों को ये बताना चाहूँगा कि कोई भी कला कभी जेंडर बायस नहीं होती। जेंडर बायस हम होते हैं, हम उसको बना देते हैं। हमारे सारे महान गुरु सभी जो है पुरुष रहे हैं और हमारे बहुत सटीक उदाहरण रहे हैं हमारे समाज में।
आज जैसे एक जो थीम रहा है कार्यक्रम का वो है महिला सशक्तिकरण का, विमेन आर्टिस्ट का। मैं खुद भी एज ए वुमेन आर्टिस्ट मुझे हमेशा एक क्यूरियोसिटी रही है, एक इंटरेस्ट रहा है कि औरतों का, महिलाओं का क्या योगदान रहा है इस, हम जो कहते हैं इतने हज़ारों साल की जो हमारी सांस्कृतिक धरोहर है उसमें महिलाओं का क्या योगदान रहा है। और इस पर ना सिर्फ मेरा रिसर्च है, मैं खुद गाने में भी इसको लाने की कोशिश करती हूँ। जैसा मैं मानती हूँ कि मीराबाई जो 15वीं सदी में जो एक भक्ति संत रह के गई हैं, उस ज़माने में जो उन्होंने कर दिखाया कृष्ण भक्ति के रास्ते में, वो आजकल के ज़माने में जो फेमिनिज्म है उससे किसी तरह से कम नहीं है।
Wonderful, wonderful, amazing, amazing. What a packaging of the different aspects and segments of the culture. Heartiest congratulations to you for such a wonderful book and such a wonderful chapters and the way you have explained everything. सबसे पहली स्लाइड में जो आपने शुरू किया, that was something very interesting, जहां आपने लिखा नमस्ते. तो when I was seeing and reading that, this corona has told everybody no shaking hand and it's only namaste. So the Indian culture giving the fragrance and sprinkler effect world over to everybody. And even the presidents and prime ministers of the different countries, when they meet the Honorable Prime Minister of India, everybody is folding the hands. So that is also the cultural heritage. फिर आपने एक और बड़ी अच्छी इंटरेस्टिंग बात कही वहां पर कि ड्यूरिंग द पैंडेमिक जो टर्मरिक का मिल्क है, हल्दी का दूध, पीपल डू नॉट नो हाउ गुड इट इज फॉर हेल्थ. और जो आज आपने टच किया इस पॉइंट को, हमारे साथ हर संडे को आयुर्वेदा का प्रोग्राम होता है एंड ही हैड बीन टेलिंग कि हल्दी का दूध लो और देसी काढ़ा लो और 3-4 मनक्का रोज लो, तो वो हमारी किचन में तो सारी औषधियां मौजूद हैं. और जो आपने कल्चरल पार्ट में उसको बड़े अच्छे ढंग से एंड द टाइटल व्हिच यू हैव गिवन अंडर योर बुक, you know, on the chapters, living heritage and the legacy of the language which you talked about, sari not sorry, the language crisis also you discussed, ट्रेडिशनल म्यूजिक का जो आपने बातचीत की है, ओ माय गॉड, दैट्स सो हार्टनिंग, क्योंकि आजकल बहुत कम लोग हैं. और ये जो आपने अभी दिखाया वीडियो, उसमें हमारी अटरिया पे आओ संवरिया, दैट इज समथिंग अमेजिंग व्हाट यू हैव शोन ओवर हियर. वो लगता है कि आप कहीं हेरिटेज में, अपने कल्चर में, अपनी संस्कृति में, अपनी विरासत में, अपने लोगों में और अपने इतिहास के पन्नों में कहीं जा रहे हैं. दैट इज समथिंग अमेजिंग, अमेजिंग. मैं जानबूझकर हिंदी में भी बातचीत कर रहा हूं क्योंकि लोगों को ये महसूस होना चाहिए कि हम अंग्रेजी सिर्फ इसलिए बोल रहे हैं क्योंकि वो रोजगार में काम आती है, वो बाहर के लिए कहीं काम आती है. वी गॉट टू लिंक एंड द पीपल आर वाचिंग दिस प्रोग्राम फ्रॉम वर्ल्ड ओवर. दैट इज बेसिकली कंपेलिंग अस टू यूज दैट पर्टिकुलर लैंग्वेज. अदरवाइज हम अपनी मातृभाषा को, अपनी संस्कृति को, अपनी वैल्यूज को, अपने इतिहास को, इन सब चीजों को बहुत प्यार करते हैं. फिर आपने जो ज्वेलरी की एक बातचीत की है, वो भी आपका बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट. आपने क्या बढ़िया कहा कि डायमंड रिंग देनी है कि गोल्ड रिंग देनी है. वाओ, दैट वाज अमेजिंग. वो मैंने पहले कभी नहीं सुना उस तरीके का, समथिंग वेरी नाइस. फिर आप बातचीत कर रहे थे ब्रांडिंग एंड मार्केटिंग की. मैडम, उसको थोड़ा एम्फसाइज कीजिए. आई एम वेरी कीन. लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल. हम मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ टूरिज्म, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया को भी साथ लेकर चलते हैं और मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कल्चर तो है ही है. और ये हमारी खुशकिस्मती है कि दी ऑनरेबल यूनियन मिनिस्टर is also in charge for tourism and he's also in charge for culture. So both the areas when being taken into consideration. और मैं आपको थोड़ा सा दिल्ली से, द्वारका से दूर लेकर चलता हूं, जिस जगह को हमने बरसों नेग्लेक्ट किया है, और वो मैं आपको लेकर चलता हूं 8 ब्यूटीफुल स्टेट्स ऑफ नॉर्थ ईस्ट पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया. क्योंकि यूनियन मिनिस्टर इज फॉर टूरिज्म, फॉर कल्चर and entire northeast India. The art, the craft, the heritage, the culture, the dances, the music, the cuisine, the humbleness and the soft skills, उन सब चीजों को भी नॉर्थ ईस्ट को अगर हम छूते हैं तो दैट इज अमेजिंग. अब आप मुझे थोड़ा सा आप ये बताइए कि जो ब्रांडिंग और मार्केटिंग के बारे में आप बात कर रही थी, उसको थोड़ा सा एलैबोरेट कीजिए कि आप क्या कहना चाहती हैं. What exactly should we do post-pandemic?
I think बहुत important point है, और it has caught your attention very rightly that branding and marketing is the crux of it. अगर हम कोई भी बात को emphasize and re-emphasize and reiterate करते हैं तो उसका impact एक अलग ही level का होता है. तो जैसे कि नॉर्थ ईस्ट है, अब देखिए कैलिफोर्निया में आप जब जाते हैं तो नापा वैली टूर इज सच अ phenomenon. It is not just a tour. It is like it is spurring so the economy. It is contributing to their GDP. It is an experience in itself. एक बहुत अच्छा अनुभव है. बहुत से लोग जो नहीं भी पीते हैं, they don't drink alcohol, they also go for Napa Valley because it is positioned as as part of their culture. It is not a commodity. So, like that, Northeast is the best example of tea. चाय बगान है वहाँ. तो अगर जो चाय पत्ती है, चाय को हम commodity ना देके culture देखें, कि जो हिंदुस्तान में almost 5,000 साल से, if we there are records to prove it, कि we have these चाय बगान, tea estates for the last not couple of years, not a few hundred years, but 4,000, 5,000 years. सो इसको हम एक बहुत अच्छी तरह अगर हम इसकी ब्रांडिंग कर सकते हैं, हम एक टूर्स वगैरह बना सकते हैं, बुटीक टी टूर्स. सिर्फ ये नहीं कि एक प्याला मतलब चाय का पिलाया गया, बट उसके पीछे जो कहानी है. सो आई थिंक वी हैव टू सेल द स्टोरी मोर देन द कमोडिटी. एंड द सेम थिंग अप्लाइज इवन टू हैंडीक्राफ्ट. अब हमारे नॉर्थ ईस्ट की मेखला चादर, असम की, और वहां भी बहुत केन के, बैम्बू के, जूट के इतने आइटम्स हैं जो कि सस्ते, टिकाऊ और बहुत ही अद्भुत लगते हैं, बहुत ही सुंदर लगते हैं. घरों में सजाए हुए, घरों में यूटिलिटेरियन पर्पस, फंक्शनल नीड्स के लिए वो चीज लाइट वेट भी रहती है और जल्दी खराब भी नहीं होती और देखने में बहुत सुंदर लगती है. तो जब ये चीजों के पीछे हम दिखाते हैं कि कारीगर ने कितना समय लगाया. मान लीजिए कोई साड़ी है कश्मीरी कढ़ाई की, जब हम उससे बताते हैं कि 6 महीने लगे इसकी कढ़ाई करने में, 7 hours a day, 6 months और 7 months, या फिर बनारसी ब्रोकेड को हम ऐसे मार्केट करते हैं, तो तब सामने वाला अपने आप से इस चीज की वैल्यू ज्यादा मानता है, क्योंकि उसे ये पता है वो एक कला खरीद रहा है, वो एक कंट्री के, एक प्रांत के इतिहास से जुड़ रहा है, ना कि केवल एक चीज पैसा फेंक रहा है और वो चीज उठा रहा है. सो वी हैव टू सेल आवर कल्चर बाय टेलिंग द राइट काइंड ऑफ स्टोरीज. सो वी आर इन दिस, हम एक बहुत बड़े ग्रैंड स्टोरी टेलिंग कंपटीशन में हैं ग्लोबली. तो हम अगर अपनी स्टोरी अपने ढंग से नहीं बताते हैं, तो फिर ये बहुत ये बहुत अजीब बात होगी. वी आर कमिंग फ्रॉम द नेशन जहां रामायण, महाभारत जैसी एपिक्स हैं. वी आर स्टोरी टेलिंग इज इन आवर ब्लड. हमने नानी दादी से इतनी सुंदर सुंदर कथाएं सुनी है, हम खुद भी अपने बच्चों को हम लोग सुनाते हैं. तो जब अगर हमारी देश की संस्कृति से रिलेटेड स्टोरी हम अगर नहीं बेच पा रहे हैं, तो लानत है हम पे. हम किस तरह के भारतीय हैं? तो हमें हमारी स्टोरीज को इस वक्त पॉइजन किया जा रहा है, हमारे नैरेटिव को चेंज किया जा रहा है, उसको अलग गलत तरीके से प्रोजेक्ट किया जा रहा है. अब मान लीजिए कोई वॉशिंगटन पोस्ट क्या कह रही है, न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स इज not the be all and end all, it's not the ultimate truth. It may be their truth, it may be their projection, but we cannot be solely guided by that. So I'm saying that the narrative, the remote control should be in our hands. We need to control the story, we need to tell the right stories to our children, to our people, and we need to be first of all convinced that there is something beautiful in our culture. We should not feel that inferiority complex, because we are जैसे कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी ने बहुत ही खूबसूरती से बोला है कि विकास और विरासत should go hand in hand. Development and heritage, they are the cornerstones of India's path to becoming the third important economy in the world, the third major superpower. अभी हम fifth major superpower हैं. Very soon we'll be the third major superpower. So in this journey to pole vault from number 5 to number 3, if there's one USP, अगर एक कोई यूनिक चीज हमारे बारे में है, तो वो हमारी विरासत है. और उसके बारे में हम जितना कहें, हम ब्रांडिंग, उसको जितना हम मार्केटिंग, वी शुड स्पेंड मनी, वी शुड स्पेंड टाइम, वी शुड स्पेंड एफर्ट, वी शुड गेट सेलिब्रिटीज टू एंडोर्स इट. We need to invest a lot more than what we are currently doing. And I'm including the government, I'm including the bureaucracy, I'm including the the schools, the academic setup, the parents, because parents are a very critical part of this entire process. And I'm including, of course, the young generation. But out of all these, sir, I find that जो youth है country का, or India has the highest demographic dividend, uh, they are very receptive, they are very attentive, they are very forthcoming. सिर्फ उनको कहानी सही बतानी है हमें.
बहुत खूब, बहुत खूब, बहुत अच्छे से आपने बहुत सारी चीजों को टच किया यहाँ पर, एंड यू हैव टेकन मी बैक टू सर्टेन एरिना. 1988 के अंदर मैम टी टूरिज्म शुरू हो गया था आसाम और सिक्किम में. श्री बीके गोस्वामी वाज दैट टाइम द डीजी टूरिज्म गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. और उन दिनों में हमने कार्यक्रम चलाया था व्हेन आई वाज ऑन डेपुटेशन विद द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ टूरिज्म गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, एंड दैट वाज सुरभि. दैट इज रेणुका शाह ने सिद्धार्थ काक का एक प्रोग्राम आया करता था. तो उसके अंदर बहुत सारी चीजों को हमने टूरिज्म को प्रोजेक्ट किया. अब आपने कहानियों की जब बातचीत की है, स्टोरी टेलिंग की, फिर आपने एक वर्ड यूज किया सेलिब्रिटीज, कि सेलिब्रिटीज को एंडोर्स करना चाहिए. अब आप देखिए यश चोपड़ा जी जब भी हम लोगों को मिला करते थे, वो ये कहते थे कि मेरे जो गानों की पिक्चराइजेशन है वो लैंडस्केप इतना अच्छा होना चाहिए कि बिल्कुल बहुत खूबसूरत लगे. किसी ने उन्हें नॉर्थ ईस्ट दिखाया ही नहीं, और वो स्विट्जरलैंड गए. दिल तो पागल है, दिल वाले दुल्हनिया ले जाएंगे, लम्हे, चांदनी, मोहब्बतें. स्विट्जरलैंड ने यश चोपड़ा जी के नाम पे अपनी कंट्री का टूरिज्म प्रमोट कर लिया, और उनके नाम पर वहां पर रेलवे स्टेशन है, उनके वहां पर एक वाटरफॉल है जो यश चोपड़ा जी के नाम पे बनाया गया. इन सब चीजों का ज्ञान भी हमें इसलिए हुआ कि जो हमारे चेयरमैन है मीडिया एंटरटेनमेंट डिपार्टमेंट के हमारे चेंबर में, ही वाज द सिनेमेटोग्राफर विद यश चोपड़ा जी. तो कहीं आपके जहन में, आपकी राइटिंग में और आपके आर्टिकल्स में जो भी आप इस किताब की बात लेकर चल रही हैं, मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि देखिए कोरोना में सबने सफर किया है. एवरीबडी हैज सफर्ड, ऑल दीज सेगमेंट्स हैव सफर्ड. तो आइसोलेशन में कोई भी ग्रो नहीं कर सकता, सबको जुड़ना होगा. इट इज नो मोर कॉम्पिटिशन, इट इज कोलैबोरेशन एंड इट इज कलेक्टिव एफर्ट्स. उस चीज को अगर हम आगे लेकर चलते हैं तो हमारे प्रोड्यूसर्स, हमारे डायरेक्टर्स, हमारे सिनेमेटोग्राफर्स ये बाहर की कंट्रीज में फिल्मों की शूटिंग के लिए क्यों जाएं? क्यों ना मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कल्चर, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ टूरिज्म, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन ब्रॉडकास्टिंग, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स इन लोगों को सब्सिडी दें, इन लोगों को पर्क्स दें, इन लोगों को इनवाइट करें. अरे होटल देना है, एक ट्रांसपोर्ट देनी है, 2-4 कमरे देने हैं. आप ये देखिए कि जब एक फिल्म एक जगह पर बन जाती है, दैट बिकम्स ए टूरिस्ट अट्रैक्शन. उसके माध्यम से आप कल्चर को भी प्रमोट कर सकते हैं. और जो आपका है कल्चर ड्यूरिंग क्राइसिस, टाइटल जो बुक का आपका है, that is so appropriate, befitting, because almost all ministries and everybody fits into that. Everybody has to realize कि cultural heritage को लेकर during the crisis बच्चों के लिए क्या ओपनिंग्स हो सकती हैं. और जो लोग टेक्नोलॉजी से जुड़े हुए हैं, मैं कहूंगा कुछ ऐसे एप्स डेवलप किए जाएं टेक्नोलॉजी के माध्यम से जो हमारे कल्चर को दर्शाते हो, हमारी हेरिटेज को दिखाते हो. एंड देन कुछ एडटेक प्लेटफॉर्म्स होने चाहिए. फिर आपसे मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि हिस्ट्री के प्रोफेसर जो उत्तराखंड से दिल्ली आए हैं और वो अभी एनसीईआरटी के डायरेक्टर हैं, डॉक्टर सकलानी, उनका काम बहुत अच्छे से बेहतरीन इस समय किताबों का हो रहा है. उन्हें भी कहिए कि कुछ चैप्टर्स हम भी अपने चेंबर के माध्यम से कहेंगे, लेकिन आप भी उनके साथ संपर्क कीजिए, बिकॉज ही इज ऑल्सो चेयरमैन ऑफ NCTE, that is National Council for Teacher Education. जब टीचर को कल्चर और संस्कृति और हेरिटेज का पूरा गहराई में सही पता होगा तो बच्चों तक बात टेक्नोलॉजी के माध्यम से अपने आप पहुंच जाएगी. गेमिफिकेशन आ रहा है, एनिमेशन आ रहा है, और बहुत सारी चीजें आ रही हैं. Why not we should have the games based on India's cultural heritage? So आपका काम बियॉन्ड बुक है, आपका होमवर्क हमने आज आपको दे दिया है, आपका काम बहुत ज्यादा है. और जहां तक एनआरआईज का सवाल है, नॉन रेजिडेंट इंडियंस का सवाल है,
मतलब जो आप बोल रहे हैं एवरी जी सर,
they all are very keen मैम. एनआरआईज अपने बच्चों को रह तो बाहर रहे हैं. Our chamber is associated with the non-resident Indians. We are directly in touch, क्योंकि 32 मिलियन 3 करोड़ 20 लाख भारतीय बाहर रहते हैं. वो रहते तो बाहर हैं, लेकिन वो संस्कृति अपने बच्चों को संस्कार यहाँ के देना चाहते हैं. We will work out a strategy. Once in a month, we should have interaction with you, and where you should talk more about it. और फिर कुछ चीजों को ग्राउंड पर उतारें, कुछ प्रैक्टिकल वे में इनको लेकर चलें. और आपकी किताब का तो बेसिकली हम बहुत बहुत आपको कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशन करेंगे और आपको आभार प्रकट करेंगे कि आपने अपनी किताब के 12 चैप्टर्स का, अगर आप चाहें तो जल्दी से 12 चैप्टर्स के टाइटल्स बता दीजिए आप एक बार.
हाँ जी सर, एक तो मैं 12 चैप्टर के टाइटल्स बताऊंगी और एक और थोड़ा सा आई वांट
बताइए
टू
प्लीज,
एक
टेक योर टाइम.
सजेशन देना चाहती हूँ कि आपने कहा कि कॉन्क्रीट स्टेप्स हम लोग ऐसी चीज जो हम इमीडिएटली कर सकते हैं वो क्या है. तो आई थिंक एज सिटीजंस हम एक वी कैन टेक अ सॉर्ट ऑफ वी कैन मेक अ चॉइस कि हर बार देखिए जो अर्बन एलिट्स की बात हो रही है, दिल्ली, मुंबई, चेन्नई, हैदराबाद, जो हिंदुस्तान के 4-5 मेट्रोस हैं, इसमें एक ट्रेंड हो गया है कि या तो वो जाते हैं गोवा और अगर ज्यादा अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं दे गो टू मालदीव्स और दे गो टू सम हिल स्टेशन.
लक्षद्वीप क्रॉस कर जाते हैं, जो हमारे 36 आइलैंड इतने अच्छे हैं, बताइए.
हाँ जी, तो गोवा और मालदीव्स इज नॉट डिफाइनिंग it's not the end of the tourism industry of either of India or of the world. I mean, let's look at the beauty of Hampi. Let's look at the Khajuraho. Let's look at the beautiful lake city of Udaipur, या blue city of Jodhpur. ये तो Rajasthan and Gujarat, still people go there. But I had the privilege and honor to actually travel to Telangana, and I saw the Statue of Equality. Now, Statue of Unity, Statue of Equality, these are also, I mean, I have 2 teenage children. I felt as soon as I came back that I must take them there instead of just the hills and the beaches. These are ये जो चीजें, ये स्तंभ है हमारे कल्चर की, इससे हमें इतनी जानकारी और इतनी ब्यूटीफुली उन्होंने इसके बारे में पूरा बताया है. कितनी ही विशाल एक एकड़ेज में वो पूरा बना है, कितने सारे देवी देवताओं के बारे में कहानियां हैं वहाँ, और इतना इट्स नॉट जस्ट ब्यूटीफुल आर्किटेक्चरली, लेकिन उसमें बहुत सारी कहानियां हैं. तो हमें ये देखना होगा कि एज इंडिविजुअल्स की हम अपनी साल में यदि 3 से 4 छोटी हॉलीडेज करते हैं तो हम एटलीस्ट एक कल्चरल हॉलीडे करें. That should be the starting point, and definitely I'll be very happy to show you the contents of my this particular book. I have yeah.
हमने रिक्वेस्ट किया है मैडम नम्रता कोहली जी को, जो ऑथर है बुक की कल्चर ड्यूरिंग क्राइसिस, और मैडम को हमने ये रिक्वेस्ट किया है कि जो मैडम के 12 चैप्टर्स हैं इस पर्टिकुलर बुक के, उसके बारे में मैम आपसे थोड़ा जिक्र करें, सो दैट एवरीबडी नोज अबाउट इट एंड एवरीबडी इज ऑन द कॉमन वेवलेंथ. अगर आप चाहेंगे मैम तो फिर नहीं तो मैं बताता हूँ, आप बताइए.
नहीं सर, मैं आपको एक्चुअली तकलीफ नहीं देना चाहती क्योंकि ये मैंने ऑलरेडी लिखा हुआ है.
वंडरफुल.
हाँ जी, तो ये है सर. दिस इज ऑल रिटन वेरी क्लियरली कि कौन से चैप्टर्स हैं. ऐसा मेरा एक हम्बल एफर्ट रहा है.
अगर आप इजाजत देंगे तो मैं आपके चैप्टर्स पढ़ देता हूँ फटाफट.
प्लीज सर, प्लीज.
So ladies and gentlemen, it is Culture During Crisis, the new book which was launched on 5th of October by Namrata Kohli ma'am, and she has authored it, put a lot of efforts, time, and her heart, soul, everything she has put into it. And it has got beautiful 12 chapters: living heritage, the legacy of languages, sari, not sorry, handicrafts, hand, head, and heart, classical music, the sound of heritage, you all enjoy it, India, the land of spirituality and seekers, Ram Mandir, that is the temple and towns, what she's talking about over there. और बहुत अच्छा आपको लगेगा, मैंने पूरा चैप्टर ध्यान से देखा है. Spotlight on heritage city Varanasi, this is also amazing. Indian jewellery, that is royalty, antiquity, and रीति रिवाज. And then चाय पत्ती एंड टी लीव्स के बारे में उन्होंने आसाम और बाकी जगहों के बारे में बातचीत की. द राइज ऑफ इंडिजिनियस स्पोर्ट्स एंड रिचुअल्स, द बेसिस बिहाइंड. Ma'am, ritual is also very important. People are very keen to know about Indian rituals, different. ये देखिए आपका बहुत अच्छे से ये आपने चैप्टर्स की हल्की हल्की डिटेल भी सबको दे दी है. Wow, that's great. We can run through because it's going on the YouTube channel. People can see it, people can go through. And अगर आप हमारे साथ 12 के 12 चैप्टर कवर कर दें, because we are very hungry to know more and more about the book. Interview
Yeah.
from my book. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, sure, sir. So actually, this book has 12 chapters, as you rightly mentioned. And in each chapter, मैंने कोशिश की है कि कोई दिग्गजों से बात करूं, ऐसे लोगों से जो इस कल्चर को जीते हैं, people who are living, eating, breathing, walking, talking that culture. तो मैंने शुरुआत की है the erstwhile king of Udaipur, Shri Arvind Singh Mewar, जो कि they hold this Maharana Mewar foundation awards every year. They encourage folk, classical music, dance, and they have created the sound and light show and this very amazing experience of visiting the museum, the seeing the culture heritage of Udaipur and the Mewar dynasty. So मैं जब हिंदुस्तान टाइम्स की एचटी प्रीमियम होम्स की कंसल्टेंट एडिटर थी, उस वक्त मैं गई थी उनका इंटरव्यू करने और मैं वहाँ 1-2 दिन रही थी। मैंने देखा और मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छा लगा और मैं बड़ी इंस्पायर्ड हुई कि आज के युग में भी ऐसे लोग हैं जो इस कदर अपनी आइडेंटिटी, इमेज एंड इंस्पिरेशन को इम्पोर्टेंट मानते हैं। तो उनकी जो कुछ बातें हैं, मैंने उनका इंटरव्यू किया था पूरा और उसी में से काफी एक्सट्रैक्ट्स मैंने इस बुक में भी यूज किए हैं, सो दैट पीपल फील दैट व्हेन क्रेडिबल वॉइसेस पीपल हु मैटर, जब वो कुछ बोलते हैं तो उसका इम्पैक्ट एक अलग आता है समाज में. So then legacy of languages. Did you know that a former Vice President of India, Shri Venkaiah Naidu ji, is one of the very strong proponents of mother tongue and grandmother tongue, Sanskrit, as well as all our vernacular languages. He says we must remember that language only gets nourished by constant use. If you do not use a language, you lose a language. And he's so right there, sir. Then sari, not sorry. I just thought of speaking with Ritu Kumarji because she has dressed many a Miss India, and she's the one go-to person who has always, in those 4-5 years when India constantly was winning those entries, she has dressed Sushmita Sen, Aishwarya Rai, and whatnot in saris, in salwar kameezes, and she says कि साड़ी कोई साइज की नहीं आती, वो रेजिमेंटेड आउटफिट नहीं है. इट टेक्स every person wearing a sari will look different. No two people wear the sari the same way. Unlike the Western outfits, a sari is not in the regimented form, which is what gives it character and variety. So then handicraft mein, I spoke to Padma Bhushan Rajiv Sethi ji. I also spoke with Jaya Jetli ji, who's the head of, she's the president of Dastakari Hat Samiti. So ये ऐसा बोलते हैं राजीव जी is talking about how India is the most hand-skilled nation in the world, where we are seeing rapidly de-skilling communities. Again, he's talking of our USP. I mean, unless we can't be stupid enough to let go of our USP. We have to recognize and realize कि हाथ का काम ये एक बहुत बड़ी चीज है जो हमारे कंट्री में हर जगह मिलती है, बहुत freely available है. Just because it is freely available does not mean that it has no value. It has tremendous value if it is sold in the right place at the right price. But it is something that we as Indians should be endorsing first. तो हमारे cities में क्या रहता है सर? Zara, H&M and Marks and Spencer, यहीं पे कहानी खत्म हो जाती है. अभी Uniqlo और ऐड हो गया. I mean, they are fantastic brands. I have nothing against them. But आप किसी स्पेनिश, किसी इंग्लिश, किसी ऐसे ब्रांड से ले रहे हैं, तो जैसे दिवाली आ रही है, एटलीस्ट इस 1-2 महीने में हमें प्रण करना चाहिए कि हम थोड़ा सा इंडियन हाथ के काम को भी एंडोर्स करें. हम नहीं करेंगे तो कौन करेगा? और हम मिट्टी के दिए नहीं खरीदेंगे. हम अगर चाइनीज लाइट्स खरीदेंगे तो उनको अपनी ही इंडस्ट्री को हमें ही प्रमोट करने का एक बहुत बड़ा उत्तरदायित्व है. So then classical music, Durga Jasraj ji, she says that listening is the biggest and the foremost guru. When I was talking to her, she was telling me how Hanuman Chalisa, even after many years, brings tears to her eyes because this is something she has heard in her childhood. So it has music has amazing muscle memory. You will start humming it as a natural instinct. And so this should give us food for thought. What are we giving to our children to consume? What kind of music are they getting exposed to? I mean, is it BTS Korean pop? And because of that, people are ordering Korean food twice in a month. I mean, again, no harm with that, but absolute absolutely they are denigrating anything which is Hindi music, and they have they feel it's really down market, desi, and indigenous, and all those words are being used for what is our own. I think now a time should come when people who are underrating their heritage should be underrated first. We should actually have an exercise where we are celebrating and really branding our culture correctly and not allowing anybody to degrade us or denigrate us the way it has happened for many years. So I was very lucky to meet Sadhguruji, and I have interviewed him in the past again for Hindustan Times HT Estates. I did a half-page cover interview, and this time when I was doing the book, and he had come to New Delhi on World Environment Day on 5th June. I had the privilege of meeting him, and he has given me a full chapter on why he thinks that India is a land of seekers and not believers. And this is a thought which is a little complicated thought, and it will take some time to understand it. I would urge request everybody to read this particular chapter from the book. The book is available on Amazon India, and very shortly it will be available on Amazon UK, USA, and even Flipkart in India. So it will be either it has already been listed or it will be listed soon. When Sadhguruji talks about how we are very curious, we are always asking questions, how Arjuna put through a volley of 1,000 questions at Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna diligently and very patiently has addressed each and every query. So we are very democratic as a society, but that democracy is not just political, that we are allowed to choose our own leaders, but ये जो democracy है ये spiritual level पे भी है, जिसका you know आपका अपना एक नाता है आपके भगवान के साथ, and that is the spiritual democracy. And we always are seeking the truth, the ultimate truth. We are not handing down to even to our children or to anybody that this is the absolute truth. We are very much okay with shades of gray. There are no blacks and whites. Then I've come to Ram Mandir because I I just thought that this is something very topical, and I just happened to be able to speak with Ashish Sompura ji, who is the son of master architect Chandrakant Sompura ji. And in fact, Ashish ji is currently leading this particular project. And he told me that there's so much depth in the temple architecture. Why is it that we are not even aware of the Shilpa Shastra, the science and art of making a temple? And he said stuff like, which even I was not aware of, that you don't go to a temple just to pray, but you can go to meditate, to do sadhana. You can sit anywhere. Just the architecture is such that the vibrations would be conducive for you to do inner search, to for you to delve deep into your own consciousness and find peace and calm. So why are these things not told to the to our children? Why is it not introduced in the curriculum of the schools in India? Why are we totally unaware as though this were Latin and Greek? So I'm saying architecture, of built heritage of the spiritual dimension should also be a angle which we can explore in our heritage education. Okay, and so Varanasi is a city that I am truly fascinated about. And to begin with, I didn't have much of an idea, but I was always curious that why is it that every foreigner who lands his foot on India, on the Indian soil, wants to go to Banaras, while every Indian is not interested. Some of them are very much interested. I'm not generalizing, but definitely the foreigners are too much interested. What is it about the city? And I had I was very, very lucky to be there with my husband on the day of Mahashivratri, the second time that I went. And before that, I went professionally to, interview Shri Gaurang Rathi, who's an able officer overseeing the administrative functioning of the city at that point of time. He's now looking at, I think he's the DM Badoy uh, after Aligarh. So I was curious to know how heritage and development can go hand in hand, because this is also a smart city. That what is the kind of challenges and opportunities that come, and by and large, what I found that there was lot of bhagidari, and there was lot of community participation in the development. Of course, there were instances when they were becoming an impediment, when old cultural practices were becoming an impediment. But then there were times when people did cooperate. So this is a chapter that will put. I wanted to put the spotlight on Varanasi in my book for sure. I mean, this is a city which is the most ancient city of the world, and that is what I mean. If we are home to one of the most ancient city in the world, I think it's amazing. I mean, it is again a very underrated part of our tourism map. इंडिया के टूरिज्म में जब हम इंडियंस की बात करते हैं, और स्पेशली जो एक कंटेम्पररी इंडियन की बात करते हैं, तो कितने हिंदुस्तानी है जो वाराणसी जाना चाहते हैं, उनके बच्चे जाना चाहते हैं. आई थिंक ये इसकी भी ब्रांडिंग या मार्केटिंग कहीं ना कहीं हमें प्रोबेबली, जैसे क्योटो काशी प्रोजेक्ट हुआ, रुद्राक्ष ऑडिटोरियम बना, और बड़ी सारी चीजें हुई हैं, ये सब दिखाने वाली चीजें हैं. वहां पे काशी विश्वनाथ जी का टेम्पल, ऑफ कोर्स दैट इज देयर, एंड but the best part is the ghats. And when you take a boat ride in Ganga Ji, I think it's and see the Ganga Aarti, that is a spectacular experience. So then the next is of course on jewelry. So jewelry is not just ornamental in our tradition. It is a very, very important part of our festivals, of our the way we live our lives, our lifestyle. And I had the occasion to speak with Rajiv Arora ji, who with Rajesh Ajmera has set up this Amrapali jewels, where they are making old ancient jewelry very cool and contemporary. उन्होंने जेनिफर लोपेज से लेके करीना कपूर से लेके हर टॉप नॉच एक्ट्रेस आज की डेट में आम्रपाली पहनती है, और बहुत सुंदर इनके डिजाइन होते हैं. तो मैं उनसे यही चीज जानना चाह रही थी कि जो ज्वेलरी की हिस्ट्री है वो क्या है, जिसमें उनका भी there is his interview, then there's the De Beers case study that I have put, and some of my own opinions. Finally, sir, the third last chapter is on chai patti and tea leaves, where I have spoken about this, how we have treated tea as a commodity, but India has the legacy of tea, and therefore tea should be an experience, and we can create that experience. हमें वो काबिलियत है, वो सब कुछ है, लेकिन there is some small missing link here and there. If we can just plug in that gap, I think tea we can just replicate that Napa Valley experience in our northeastern zone also. Okay, this I don't think we have spoken about, but cricket does not define Indian sports. Cricket has been a very English game. आज की डेट में हम देखते हैं कि क्रिकेट या गोल्फ, अब गोल्फ के भी रियल एस्टेट प्रोजेक्ट्स इतने महंगे बिकते हैं हिंदुस्तान जैसी जगह में, जहां जगह जो है 1.4 बिलियन पॉपुलेशन है, एंड देयर इज पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ स्पेस. Space is a scarce commodity. To have a game like golf and cricket becoming the only games that matter is not the way it should be. I mean, these are इनमें एक again branding बहुत ज़्यादा strong हो गई है सर आज की डेट में क्रिकेट में भी. तो उससे क्या हो गया है कि जो हमारे इंडिजिनस खेल थे जैसे खो खो कबड्डी ये बहुत देर तक ओवरशैडोड रहे और इवन बैडमिंटन फॉर दैट मैटर. तो अब आज की डेट में जो प्रो कबड्डी या अल्टीमेट खो खो लीग इनके आने से मिट्टी के खेल आने से बहुत बहुत अच्छा एक काम हुआ है. इट्स अ वेरी गुड इनिशिएटिव एंड the rise of indigenous sports is again the rise of a certain trend that we are finally reclaiming what is our own what is हमारी जो सबसे बड़ी strength है मैन पावर और हमें खो खो खेलने के लिए वही चाहिए. We just need some friends. We need some people. And that's it. We don't need sophisticated equipment. We don't need huge infrastructure. We don't need lots of investment. We just need people and Kho Kabaddi. These are games which I'm saying should coexist. I have nothing against cricket. Cricket is a religion. People should play, they should cheer, or I have nothing against the other games. But we must equally promote our homegrown sports. Finally, sir, the chapter on rituals and the basis behind. This is basically where where we are talking about why is it good to wake up early. When in the morning, Brahma Muhurat ke time, when energies are conducive and we can partake that energy and energize ourselves and do a lot more, perform a lot better than we would otherwise. So there's a science behind why we say we should wash our hands before we eat our meals. Why do we say we should say a prayer before we go to bed? Why do we say we should eat rice with our hands so that we can touch and feel the temperature and literally warn ourselves that of what is coming inside the mouth. So the Indian traditions and the basis behind. I was very fortunate to meet Daji, who's a global heartfulness guide, and he has really explained extremely well some of the ancient rituals and the science behind them. So I can. This is the book cover, Culture During Crisis, and it's available at Amazon. And if I'm not, I mean, I think we were exceeded time, but I had a small video which where a school teacher has spoken about how sitar is also dying after Tanpura and how it's being replaced by guitar. We can take it up next time. If
Sure.
there's no time.
No, we can take up, ma'am. Let's do justice with the topic the best possible way. You are trying to promote Indian culture, display Indian culture, and recognize Indian culture. So we are all for it.
Okay, that's very kind of you, sir. Let me share sound and optimize for video clip, and then we can take it up.
This generation is learning an instrument or learning any art form just to become famous on social media. I hope you all agree to that, right? So they learn and they choose an instrument which gives them fame, which gives them likes, more comments, right? I have also, personally interacted with so many sitar makers or instruments makers, those who are making their instruments manually. They have also shared the experience that now we get more orders of guitar, keyboard and drums as compared to sitar, tabla, harmonium. These are manual instruments. And also, this is becoming very famous that students are thinking that sitar is very difficult. Oh, I want to learn an instrument which will give me, fame in very less period of time. And they feel that sitar is very difficult. If I start learning sitar, it will take years. And when will I get, likes and shares on my social media page? Or how will I open my YouTube channel? By all these factors, social media, advertisements, you can see that there's a guy in the advertisement who is getting fame in just 5 minutes by playing a guitar, or he's impressing someone by just strumming some strings. Okay, so and whereas a person playing sitar for a school function, for an orchestra or something, that person is getting less audience. So I think audience is also playing a major role. Not only the learners, the audience also. Audience also do not want to listen to sitar symphonies or sitar shows. They are not, going to watch a particular show which is only based on sitar. Either they want Western, either they want fusion. And also, there is a change that if you see a band and there is a piece of sitar is required in that, they are not asking a person to play sitar practically over there, but they are using the sound of sitar which is already recorded. So one day will come that this will become history and the sound of instrument will remain. For example, veena, sitar, harmonium, these instruments are replaced by electronic sounds these days. Nobody is willing to approach a sitarist that you come and play something for our show, but they are choosing the recorded ones. Same goes for tanpura. Tanpura also now manually is not being used by many artists. They are using electronic tanpura. So this is also a reason why the demand of these instruments are not up to the mark. They are becoming a recording. They are not physically present in any show or in any recordings. Even in the studios, people are using the sound of sitar, but they are not willing to call a person to play it personally for them. And this also demotivates a person doing sitar, studying sitar, or is an artist. And I have so many friends, those who are now leaving sitar. They are not playing sitar, they are learning guitar. Why? Because they also have to go with the trend that students are not coming to learn sitar. How will I work? How will I learn? And how will I earn? So they are also learning Western instruments just to have their just to earn their bread. They are
Absolutely. Madam Arora mentioned so well everything she has given about the traditional musical instruments versus what we have got to Western culture. So closing remarks from your side, and then in your honor, we will be playing one song और हम आपको बताएंगे कि इंडियन म्यूजिक की वैल्यू, कल्चर और हेरिटेज के साथ
हाँ जी सर, मैं बस क्लोजिंग रिमार्क्स I mean, who am I to say anything about our culture? And I'm not a cultural crusader, because that shows that I'm above the others. I'm just as much a part of our culture as you or anybody else is. We are all equally proud people of our and I think the one thing which I want to should be a parting notice ki vikas or virasat, these are the cornerstones of India, and this is the USP, and they should go hand in hand. And I'm quoting PM Modi, who has actually spoken as a good orator, and it's very perfectly articulated, I feel, the entire sentiment.
Wonderful. Great. Honorable Prime Minister का भी आपने कोट कर दिया, विकास और विरासत दोनों बड़ी अच्छी चीजें. So we wish you all the best for your wonderful book, The Treasure, what you have come out with. And ladies and gentlemen, as Madam has mentioned, Namrata Kohli ji, that it is available on Amazon and it will come on other platforms also shortly. मेरे दिमाग में एक आइडिया आया आपसे बात करते करते ही, because idea when it is implemented, it becomes something. नहीं तो आइडियाज तो लोगों के पास हैं, वो डरते हैं उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने से, भी घबराते हैं, बात नहीं करते हैं. आपकी किताब को अभी 1 महीना चलने दीजिए Amazon में, बाकी सब जगह सारी चीजें. How you can repay back and how you can bring the Indian heritage to the global family. मुझे 1 महीने का समय चाहिए. 1 महीने के बाद हम लोग एक प्रोग्राम करें. जिन लोगों को आपने किताब में कोट किया है, उनको आप अपने साथ प्रोग्राम में लेके आइए, उनको हम यहाँ ऑनर कर दें. डिजिटल में टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत आगे चल गई है, ऊपर से गुलाब के पत्ते आएंगे, इंडियन ट्रेडिशनल म्यूजिक बजेगा, और उन लोगों को हम ग्लोबली सारे नॉन रेजिडेंट इंडियन के साथ वर्ल्ड ओवर आपकी किताब के साथ जोड़ें, तो उन्हें भी वैल्यू लगेगी कि मैडम नम्रता कोहली के साथ जो हमारा इंटरेक्शन हुआ, जो हमारी बातचीत हुई, that has reached globally world over, and it will do a great service to India also, because as I'm very passionate about tourism, you can't imagine army uniform, different role. Coming to tourism, courtesy, politeness, service, amazing the customer delight, all that, everything changes over there. And उस जर्नी ने बहुत कुछ सिखाया है. सुरभि के साथ साथ उन दिनों में एक सीरियल बना था, नरवर में हम शूटिंग के लिए जाया करते थे, and that was मृगनैनी of पल्लवी जोशी. That was also made at that point of time. और साथ ही में महाराजा मानसिंह की उनकी वहां की पूरी स्टोरी थी. Honorable that time the tourism and aviation minister was very keen about it. और फिर उसके बाद पैलेस ऑन व्हील्स का भी एक पूरी फिल्म को बनाया गया, दिखाया गया. महाराजा गज सिंह जी के पास जोधपुर में जाके बहुत सारे लोग उस पूरे डिस्प्ले के साथ, तो मुझे वो सब कुछ याद आ रहा है. और क्लोजिंग से पहले एक गाना आपको सुनाना चाहेंगे 1994 का, which is India's first tourism song. भारत के द्वार हैं खुले, स्वागत में आपके, पग पग पे फूल हैं खुले, स्वागत में आपके, आकर तो देखिए मेरे हिंदुस्तान में, यहाँ दिल बिछाए जाते हैं मेहमान की जाह में, और आओ के दीप हैं जले, स्वागत में आपके, पग पग पे फूल हैं खिले, स्वागत में आपके, भारत के द्वार हैं खुले, स्वागत में आपके. So ladies and gentlemen, while conveying our deep gratitudes and thanks to Madam Namrata Kohli ji on the culture during crisis, that during the pandemic she put in so much of efforts and she has come out with a book. It deserves so much of applaud by all of us. She has done commendable, or as a mark of respect and gratitude from our side, we'll play a song in her honor and her book's honor, because she's talking about India's cultural heritage. तो मैम को हम अपनी तरफ से एक गीत सुनाते हैं जाते जाते, और 4 मिनट्स में आपका इंडिया का पूरा कल्चर, there are 586 slides projecting India's culture. ये हमारे चेंबर ने 1994 में बनाया था. जो लोग पोजीशन में होते हैं, पार में होते हैं, जैसे नम्रता जी ने बात की राजस्थान की, तो 2015 में अगर आपको याद हो, सेक्रेटरी टूरिज्म गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया होते थे ललित पवार जी. उनको भी म्यूजिक का बहुत शौक था, और उनको जब मैंने ये गीत सुनाया तो उन्होंने मुझे कहा कि कमाल कर रखा है तुमने, 1994 के अंदर इसका म्यूजिक सुनिए, इसका धुन सुनिए, इसके शब्द सुनिए, और 586 टूरिस्ट प्लेसेस इंडिया के आप देखिए. इसको लेकर चलते हैं आपके.
भारत के द्वार हैं खुले, स्वागत में आपके, पग पग पे फूल हैं खिले, स्वागत में आपके, पग पग पे फूल हैं खिले, स्वागत में आपके, भारत के द्वार हैं खुले, स्वागत में आपके. मेहमान नवाजी के लिए सारे जहान में मशहूर है ये सरजमी दीनों ईमान में. आकर तो देखिए मेरे हिंदुस्तान में, यहाँ दिल बिछाए जाते हैं मेहमान की शान में. आओ के दीप है जले स्वागत में आपके। भारत के द्वार है खुले स्वागत में आपके। कश्मीर के पहाड़ हिमाचल की वादियाँ पंजाब के दिल पे एक नजारों की झांकियाँ। नदियाँ ये नाले बाग बगीचे ये चोटियाँ मनमोहती हुई ये परिंदों की बोलियां। सुर के हैं साथ सुर मिले स्वागत में आपके। भारत के द्वार हैं खुले स्वागत में आपके। ये आगरा का ताज वो जयपुर के हैं महल। दक्षिण के मंदिरों में मनोकामना सफल। कोणार्क उड़ीसा का जहां है चहल पहल। खजुराहो की कला से दिल जाए मचल मचल। ये पर्यटन के सिलसिले स्वागत में आपके। भारत के द्वार हैं खुले स्वागत में आपके। अजब अजंता लोरा की गुफाएं। बुद्धा का मुल्क जिससे नहीं हटती निगाहें। सुंदर है घाट शोक बनारस की हवाएं। लखनऊ की शानो शौक देती है सदाएं। आंचल बहार के हिले स्वागत में आपके। भारत के द्वार हैं खुले स्वागत में आपके। भारत के द्वार हैं खुले स्वागत में आपके।
So that was a little bit of gesture from our side for you. We just wanted to show you that this we produced way back in 1994. When there is a passion, when there is a dedication, and when there is a devotion, which you have got towards your book, we convey our deep regards and blessings to you, your culture during crisis. We wish all the best to you, ma'am, and many more such programs, many more such writings, and many more treasures coming from your side. And think about it. But I just got the idea to get the non-resident Indian near to you, and with the cultural heritage, you can do a gesture and an honor. But take about a month or so, you should get the people to whom you have quoted. we should have on the Zoom, and we invite the non-resident Indian and people from India. Let's also get all the tourism fraternity, cultural fraternity, those are associated at different levels also that day, just to witness that particular program. Once again, you mentioned branding and marketing is very important. We will do it that way, the best possible way. Please, last remarks, and then we close the program.
So thank you very much, and I really like the song that you have created. It's your own production. I think you have covered the cultural landscape, and it just shows how rich India is. हर 100 किलोमीटर में जहाँ की भाषा, जहाँ का खाना, जहाँ का रहन सहन, जहाँ के त्योहार, हर चीज यहाँ बदलती है. तो ये इससे ज्यादा जो हमारी धरोहर है, this is what is our own our wealth, I would say. यही हमारी पूंजी है. और मैं ऐसा मानती हूँ कि कल्चर ड्यूरिंग क्राइसिस जो मेरी बुक है is not just a book, it's not just I'm not interested in making it's not an economic or a financial venture. It's a mission. So, and it is more than anything else the start of culture conversation. I think what I really want to do it, and you have really been given me the platform to express my views about, is that to initiate that conversation, that why are we not doing enough as a society to promote ourselves, our identity, our culture. And it's in taking further this conversation, whatever it takes, I shall try my level best. But practically speaking, I don't see everybody getting onto the panel, but I
Some of
see
them,
I
some of
see
them,
some of them, yeah, getting
some
onto a
of them.
panel. And maybe if they agree, I shall
Yes.
definitely try and get them, or maybe somebody else who's having a similar view and would love to take this on a mission mode, not just
Yes.
leave it at
Yes.
one book, but
Yes.
take this.
Yes.
My idea is to promote this concept in the next couple of years. And that's why I'm an honorary member with the culture ministry, and I'm very happy to work in whichever way I can support the education or the culture landscape of India. Thank you very much
Thank you, ma'am.
for this platform and the exceptional work. Kudos to you for the
Thank you.
exceptional work that
Thank
you are
you, ma'am.
doing.
Thank you, ma'am.
so much.
It's all of us together. And while closing the remarks, आपने एक बड़ा अच्छा शब्द यूज किया. मैं वही आपकी नकल मारने में अच्छे होने चाहिए ना. हम नहीं करेंगे तो कौन करेगा. आपने ये एक सेंटेंस यूज किया था, हम नहीं करेंगे तो कौन करेगा. क्योंकि पूरा वर्ल्ड डिफरेंट टाइम जोन में है. कल शाम तक आप इस वीडियो को देखिएगा, because now it will go across to different time zone in different countries, to different people. Somebody is sleeping at this time, somebody is cooking at this time, somebody is getting up at this time. So we'll send across to everybody world over today's this particular program. तो आइए हम विकास और विरासत को एक साथ लेकर चलें, नम्रता कोहली जी के साथ.